start up. All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Friday afternoon, heading into Friday evening. Another KnicksFanTV and Bleacher Report simulcast. CP the Fanchise here with special guest. You guys know him, man. The Dean of Knicks Film School, our guy Jonathan Macri, is back with us on today's show. Another episode of As the World Turns, New York Knicks edition. As the New York Knicks are searching for a head coach, we got to react to the latest news and rumors and potential dominoes, all of that, man. So lock in, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. The KFTV Discord is open, so call us up with your questions, comments, concerns, regrets, and everything in between, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Happy Friday, man. Oh, man. How we feeling, man? How we doing, bro?
Life is too short for regrets.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Come on, man.
That's right.
We are both men of a certain age, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
I don't got time for regrets.
That's right.
It's all about what's next, looking forward, what is there to get excited about. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Looking forward and lots of excitement.
How did you feel when, after Game 6, we're in the descent, and then all of a sudden, back up, take off, new coach?
How did I feel? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you felt. I definitely wasn't shocked by the news. I don't know. It's like we were talking a little bit about the timing before we went live.
Yeah.
I felt like I got at least some sleep. And it was okay. And like the big thing for me is it's like, even with all the coaching stuff, I'm not staying up until 3 a.m. That's the biggest thing. So I could deal with like the news cycle picking up pretty much right away after the season's over. Because hey, look, if nothing else, it definitely fills the time because there's something to talk about, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's me as well. Like I'm starting to get some more sleep, but the best part is the 2 a.m., 3 a.m. marathons. Those are gods. So we transition, but we could stomach it a little bit. I want to get your thoughts on the whole Thibs situation later, but we got to start with today's news and Mark Stein reporting from Mark Stein that the Knicks plan to ask the Dallas Mavericks for permission to pursue Jason Kidd. Stein had it earlier this week that Kidd was on top of the Knicks' radar. He did say he didn't expect Dallas to grant the permission, but this seems like the door's open, man. What do you think?
So what do I think? I mean, just from a what's going on perspective, my assumption is that this means the Knicks. Maybe this is obvious, or maybe this is wrong. My assumption is that this means the Knicks want Jason Kidd to be their next head coach. Yeah. Like, I know our mutual very good friend, Ian Begley, had a report shortly after this report indicating that Ime Udoka and Chris Finch were still very much on the radar. But I don't know how you took that. I trust the and I'm already forgetting who had it, that Kelly Iko, right? Said no go on the Houston front, either on, I guess, Udoka's end or on Houston's end. And then on the Finch part of it, like, I don't know. I guess you could want to leave, but it seems like he's got a pretty good situation there. Made it to the conference finals. So yeah. I don't know that I would think either of those two are as likely as the Kidd situation in Dallas. And then to me, when I hear, okay, they're asking for permission, I read that as like, okay, the Knicks and Kidd have already or I know this is not legal, but like there's been some feeling out and there's obviously interest there. So then it's just a matter of, all right, well, do we consummate the relationship? And then if you do that, what does the compensation look like? So when I saw this, I'm like, oh, this is maybe further down the road than we might have imagined. But that's just my read on the situation.
Yeah.
So
I read that the same way. Like there has to be some advanced talks between the two camps. To me, it's clear that Kidd is at the top of their radar, not saying that nobody else is. But then I'm also feeling like, the reports, because I gotten similar, that they are casting a wide net. Yeah. But I'm almost wondering, like, is that as a backup plan in case the Kidd thing torpedoes? Because it just doesn't seem like, with the timing of the Thibs firing, it doesn't read Leon Rose for them to not have a plan. What do you think?
Well, so the Johnny Bryant part of all this is fascinating to me, in that I kind of want to give, like, rest in peace, Dr. Barnett, that passed away recently. His nickname was Fallback Baby. I almost feel like they should grant Johnny Bryant that nickname, because that seems to be what he is in this whole thing. Now, who knows? Maybe he's their top choice, and this is all just they're throwing us for a loop. I don't know. Yeah. But when the timing of the firing happened, I was like, oh, okay, so they want to try to get in front of the Bryant thing with the Suns, and now the Suns have made their hire and Bryant is available. There are no other head coaching jobs open at the moment. It doesn't seem like there's going to become any other head coaching jobs at the moment. So it seems like if they want Bryant, he's there. But it seems like he's not maybe at the top of their list. Again, that's just my read on it.
Does the situation they're in right now, because the next coach has to come in and take them to the finals,
or it's a failure.
Oh, yeah. Right. So in your mind, like, based on what you want, would you go with the more established name? Would you take the flyer on Johnny? What do you think? Because a lot of people are not too, like, a lot of people are, like, indifferent on the Kidd situation. That's what I'm reading.
Here's my view here, and you tell me what I'm missing. So the situation that whoever this coach walks into is as unprecedented as anything in recent NBA memory, with the possible exception of Joe Mazzulla walking in for Ime Udoka. But Joe Mazzulla got a pass there because that was not right. That was out of the blue. It was on the eve of training camp. If Mazzulla did have growing pains, which, by the way, he did, there was going to be at least a built-in, like, okay, he had to take this job, whatever, I don't know how many days before the season started. This is now a team that fired their coach because they did not reach the finals. I mean, you want to go back to David Blatt, but again, Ty Lue was like he was viewed in such a light where everybody was like super, super confident that was going to work out. I'm with all due respect to Johnny Bryant, I think the view of Ty Lue at that time was different from the view of Johnny Bryant. Is that fair?
Yes, different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once we agree upon that, and we agree upon this being an unprecedented situation for any head coach in this media market with this pressure, again, the pressure's clearly there. You could be the greatest coach in NBA history, and I got to think that, or you would maybe have become that. And as a first-year coach, man, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. I feel like, for me personally, I want someone who has had experience dealing with major pressure. And so that leaves you with, there are some big-time college coaches out there, but even that, the track record of college coaches is not great going into the pros, and it doesn't seem like Wright or Hurley, is really in the offing.
Right.
So then it comes down to, all right, current head coaches or former NBA head coaches, and then it gets down to, all right, who's your list? Ime, Finch, Kidd. How many other better coaches are there coaching in the league today that you would want, that you think are definitively better than Kidd, that are actually available or might become available? And then we could, and then there's former coaches like, I don't know, you want to sit here, we could talk about like Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel's a really nice coach. Frank Vogel won a championship in perhaps the most only other situation in the league that's more difficult to deal with on a day-to-day basis than the Knicks. So that carries some weight with me. He clearly will get along with the front office, knows how to deal with star players, the whole thing. But then we get into, all right, well, is there something specific about Kidd that they like, that they really like? And I think that's an interesting conversation. I guess I'll just leave it at that. I'd be, just 2 cents.
Yeah.
I'd be fine if they hired Kidd.
Yeah,
if they got him, and presuming they're not giving up like their last of their first-round pick swaps, which is the thing I would want to hang on to, especially given some of the other stuff that now is being talked about. That's my thing.
Yeah, before it was mentioned that they were going to go after these guys that are already under contract with teams, I would have been good with rolling the dice with Bryant. You hire him with a veteran bench coach, and you see if this young voice with some creativity can help take this team up a notch. Even though that would have been a lot of pressure, and I think one of the underrated aspects that people are not mentioning with this job that Thibs handled, and I think it was either DJ Ace or Benji that mentioned it, was a PR point of view as well, which is real, especially when you consider the Knicks are not very transparent when it comes to management and so on and so forth. So the coach has to take the brunt of that. Is that fair to put on a young coach like a Johnny Bryant, or would they do that? It's, interesting questions to ask. The Kidd thing, as you said, like, what exactly is the draw? Obviously, you can connect the dots in so many ways. Brunson loves him, and, he's been here before. He can understand the pressure. Won chips already as a coach. One of the greatest point guards ever. And then you do hear the knocks like, hey, Dallas was second in the league in ISO frequency. And was knocked for not using his bench. Timeout management was knocked. So, here we are where most of us in this new coach are looking for someone who can untap the potential or tap into the potential of this offense, develop the younger players, take some chances with the younger players, experiment a little bit. But that does not seem to be Kidd's reputation, at least coming in. Now, was that more because he was dealing with Luka Doncic in the beginning and was catering an offense to him? I don't know.
I don't look. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are two of the best isolation scorers. Forget in the league today. Right. They're two of the best isolation scorers in the history of basketball. So, how fair is it to judge? And obviously, this has not been Kidd's only coaching stop. He coached in Brooklyn. Although to compare anything that happened when he was in Brooklyn to now, it's a different league. And also, he was the first time head coach. We could go back and we could look at his days in Milwaukee, and he was more known for what he tried to do with them defensively than anything that they tried to do offensively, and they didn't have great offensive talent on those teams, so I don't know if that's fair. I'm with you in that it seems like the part of the impetus here is that they want to have just a different looking, different feeling offense, and Kidd doesn't. Maybe he could give them that, I don't know. But to me, the fact that they're looking at Kidd speaks to me about what maybe their motivations really are, which are twofold. One, I think they want a coach that is going to have more open lines of communication with the front office, which would be literally anyone. Sure. So check that box. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of it, though, and I think this is the most significant thing, Thibs is many things. An open communicator and collaborator with his locker room is not one of them. The players that do the best under Thibs are the players that do not need to be spoken to. Taj Gibson, Derrick Rose, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart. You never need to say a word to any of those guys because they took one look at Thibs and they're like, all right, I get what he wants. I'm going to go do what I know I need to do. Not everybody's built like that.
True.
And so can you bring in a coach here who is going to be able to have that dialogue and have that relationship? And I think from that perspective, Kidd's track record is very strong.
Yeah.
Again, that's to me, if you're who's making this decision? The front office. Who went out and put their necks on the line last summer by trading for Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges? The front office. Who had a potentially underwhelming season? Mikal Bridges. What does it seem like reports indicate Mikal Bridges was maybe not thrilled with certain things?
Yeah.
If there was connect the dots, it seems like, okay, they're thinking, let's find someone who could get this guy and make him feel the way maybe that he wants to feel. And Towns, too, for that matter.
Yeah. And like it's such is the case when you make these colossal investments in the future of your team with heavy championship aspirations. It's the coaches first. If he's not the right guy, we got to bring in the next guy before we figure out, do we need to destroy and rebuild or what do we need to do in the future? So, hey, these are all worthwhile questions to ask. But again, the other thing that I'm not liking about this Like on the surface, bringing Kidd, okay, let's take the chance. I like that on a lot of levels. But the draft compensation for a team that, like, I mean, we don't know what it's going to cost, right? Is it a 2030 second round pick? Is it a pick swap? A conditional first?
Can I pitch something to you?
Yeah.
You know what's nice about having a first round pick that you can call is technically a first round pick, even if it's not a first round pick, is that when the team that you're trading it to puts out their press release, they get to say, Jason Kidd has been traded to the New York Knicks for a first round pick and several whatever second round picks. And it's funny that this would be Dallas, because if I recall correctly, I forget who it was. Was it like, maybe it was Rondo or there was somebody else? I remember Dallas made it was a transaction several years ago, and they put out a press release that they'd say they acquired a first round pick, and it was like a completely fake first.
Yeah.
The Knicks do have this Washington pick, which technically
do.
Is a first round pick. It is not going to convey as a first round pick. It'll convey as two very nice second round picks. And then they also have a bunch of other seconds. So, like, again, they could technically put together a package, a first round pick, multiple second round picks, cash, does that get it done? Like, I don't know how much of a hard bargain do the Mavs want to drive here? I don't.
Okay, gonna be interesting, man. Like when people are like, is Dallas really gonna let him out? I said, or is he gonna really want out of Dallas? So he's got the number one pick with Cooper Flag. I mean, I don't.
Would you want out?
Yeah.
To come here, you would want out.
I mean, look, Nico's gonna be going fairly soon. His head's been on the chopping block. It'll remain there. You're going to have a season where you got to wait for Kyrie Irving to come back. You're in the West, which is a gauntlet from OKC to Houston to the Timberwolves, on and on to Denver, on and on into Clippers. There's no guarantees for you there whatsoever. Yes, the aspect of a Cooper Flag, a potential generational pick, is appealing, but you're coming here. You're at Madison Square Garden. You're in the New York Knicks. You're already slotted in the top 3 in the East automatically next year. Right? Knock on wood, everybody comes in healthy.
Yeah, no, I think that's...
You're going to get a bag, and as is always the case, if you get fired, you get all of it. And go on vacation. You go to the Maldives with $50 million in your pocket, and you're good to go. You start over somewhere else.
And he'd get another job because he's still young, and I think the reputation... Like, let's say he came here and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look, crazier things have happened. I think he would be able to recover from that fairly easily.
Yeah. And hey, if he wins the chip, then he's Red Holtzman. So,
yeah. Like if I could see a world maybe in like maybe like a different era where, all right, I got the first pick in the draft. He's, it's not a LeBron level number 1 overall selection, but it's like the next tier down. Like Flag's supposed to be really good. And then it's like, I want to be Popovich. He's going to be my Tim Duncan, and I'm going to be Popovich. The NBA doesn't work like that anymore. There are two coaches in the league who have had their jobs for more than 5 years. Like you just don't get the runway.
Right.
And that he is not, and that is he going to want to thread this needle where it's like, all right, I got Kyrie coming off an ACL, and then Anthony Davis is, what is AD, 32 or whatever he is?
Yeah.
But
Injury
then I got
prone.
this kid who's 21 or whatever Cooper Flag is, and I'm supposed to blend these two timelines here. Like that sounds like a lot of work with maybe not a ton of payoff.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I just feel like it's going to happen, but we'll see. Let's see what happens there. Now, the other thing that was mentioned today or speculated about, which has been the case since the Kidd stuff, is the Giannis talk.
Hold on, let me get my poncho. Let me get my poncho because there's a tsunami coming, baby.
Oh my God, the tsunami deal. I mean, this is the tsunami deal of all tsunamis. Like, what is that even supposed to mean? But like
I said earlier today, unlimited lifetime supply of cheesecakes from Junior's Cheesecake.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
What do you make of it, man? It doesn't. I'm not thrilled.
Why are you not thrilled? Let me ask you that. Why are you not thrilled?
I have a hard time seeing it, just from. Unless this is just a coordinated effort between Giannis, Leon, West. Like, we're just going to torpedo this thing. New York, New York, New York, New York. Send me there. Even if that happens, given all of the competition out there, even if that happens, if you're going to tell me now that I got to get rid of 5 rotation pieces, damn near, and deplete the bench,
yeah,
I just have a hard time seeing that working right now.
So for me, it's less about, look, if they could get Giannis Antetokounmpo in here, and Jalen Brunson is still on the roster, there was a part of me that's just like, look, figure out the rest later, because you have, but they tried that with Dame and Giannis, and like, I know nobody in New York is going to want to hear me put Damian Lillard in the same sentence as Jalen Brunson, but Damian Lillard's a really good player, and that didn't work, and it really didn't work defensively, for a variety of reasons, but like, those guys never really developed the chemistry that I think a lot of people expected them to, and lo and behold, come over here, and we're just getting through a season in which one of my main talking points, at least, is that Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, their chemistry, which started off actually really good, went down into the crapper to the point where I think they ended the postseason with more games played than assists that Jalen Brunson dished to Towns in the playoffs. It's
crazy,
or it was very close. So I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, it's automatic. You put those two guys together, everything. But that said, I do think it could absolutely work with those two. For me, it's more about how are you, so it can't be, there's nothing the Knicks have that if the Bucks are trading Giannis Antetokounmpo, that the Bucks are going to want, or is going to be enough for the Bucks. So you need to do something that you were, funny enough, not able to do on the court this year, which is make the sum of the parts greater than the whole. They were never able to do that on the court. Can you do it in a trade? Can you find someone out there, or multiple someones out there, who do value, whether it's a Karl Anthony Towns or an OG Anunoby or a Mikal Bridges? I'm not saying all of these people, but enough of the core pieces here to the point where they are then willing to flip stuff Milwaukee's way. But again, like, Windhorst says, like, what do I say about 3-team deals? It's no team deals, because the sooner you start adding pieces, and it falls apart. I don't know. Cat and 2 future pick swaps, and like Deuce McBride, like, that's, if I'm Milwaukee, I'm hanging up the phone.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
And I know there's already some, people are getting crazy, like, oh, well, maybe you take on Damian Lillard's contract. No, you can't take on $50 some odd million in salary of a guy who's not going to play basketball next year. Then you're torpedoing your whole season. So, yeah.
It's difficult, man. That's the thing. Of course, I would love Giannis. If you're telling me I could get Giannis for Cat and Deuce and whatever and all that, absolutely. We'll figure out the shooting later. But I just, if you're talking about a 2-3 team trade and you're losing 4 guys on a team where the depth or lack thereof, whether you want to make the case it was the coach's fault or not, I don't want campaign back next year. I just don't see it. When you're looking at the finals and you're looking at these 2 teams going 10-11 deep with guys that can just run at you in waves, I just think this is Phoenix Suns all over again. This is Milwaukee again. This is second apron team struggling with the depth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The fact that they do have Brunson here, and he is such a known commodity to us, and he's a point guard. That's the other thing I think that was maybe the downfall of the Phoenix situation, is because they did not have a true point guard on that team, the offense never elevated to those levels, and the defense was actually pretty good under Vogel, and then just fell off a cliff this year because they didn't have that backline protection. Nurkic fell off a cliff, and they didn't have anyone else. They tried to get Richards and everything. But then again, you'll get New York. Okay, then New York has Mitch here. Well, that's great, but what has Giannis had for the longest time in his career? He's had a stretch 5.
Right.
So now, do you need to bring in a stretch 5 to maximize Giannis? Then we're having we're having a different version of the whole freaking Karl Anthony Towns conversation we just had. Well, you have Cat, but now you can't play Josh Hart. So what do you? It's complicated. It's very obviously complicated.
Yeah, very. But at the very least, whoever this coach is, you want definitely, if Cat's going to be here, they've got to be able to get that two-man game going and get that chemistry going. I'm not of the belief that these guys can't work. You know, people say that, like, these guys will never work. I'm not of the belief of that. You know, they said that about a lot of pairings, and it was way too impatient of an approach. Maybe the next coach can help unlock that and help just generate some better offense with his team. I think that's a priority. And then, you know, we'll see. I don't think we'll ever escape the Giannis speculation if they do bring Kidd in here. All summer we'll probably be waiting to hear what's his decision with Milwaukee.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they look at what Kidd did in Dallas, blending the skill sets of now. Look, Kyrie and Luka are very different players than Cat, but like he made that work really well, you know. But those guys are also like two of the smartest basketball. I shouldn't say that. Cat's a smart in his own right, but like he's not like a basketball savant like Kyrie Irving. And if I personally think very highly of Luka Doncic, it's like he's a funky. We've been talking about this for weeks. For a guy who could do everything you need him to do on the court, he is just like a funky piece to maximize, which is why we're sitting here 10 years into his career, and no coach has been able to truly maximize him.
That is a challenge, man. That is a challenge. So to everybody in the chat once again, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. CP the Fanchise, Jonathan Macri, KnicksFanTV, Knicks Film School collaboration part 2. Part 1 was done earlier today with Alex and Andrew. So salute to everybody in the chat, man. Leo says, I love the KFTV, KFS collabs. So shout out to Leo in the chat. All of our Fanchise channel members, we salute you guys as well. Shout out to Dionicio Neblet, a new Fanchise channel member. So welcome to the channel. And shout out to Will N. We're going to take some calls on the Discord. But real quick, as we're talking about Giannis, how about the KD talk? I got to get you things. Your
where are you on KD?
On KD. Well, I want to play this Shams soundbite from yesterday from the pregame show, and then I want to get into it. Here we go. Here was Shams on NBA Countdown, NBA Finals pregame show. Here we go.
There's going to be some level of change to this Knicks roster. Now, do you go for a landmark player? Do you try to look into Giannis Antetokounmpo? Do you look at Kevin Durant? On Kevin Durant, I will say this: the Knicks, there was some mutual interest between Kevin Durant and the Knicks at the trade deadline. The Knicks made an offer for Kevin Durant at the NBA trade deadline. Obviously, there was no Kevin Durant trade. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. So, do they go star hunting? But at the bare minimum, they're going to have to add some more depth. That's going to be a requirement of this team this offseason.
They made an offer at the trade deadline for KD. I'm out.
Yeah. What's that?
I'm out. I don't.
You're out.
I don't want to do it. No, I don't.
You don't want a KD. Okay.
No. I have in the past, sure. Even last year, I was ready to send Julius packing. Go get KD in here. I'll take KD over Julius any day of the week. Now, another year. What injury did he have last year? Calf, something that I feel like you can almost pencil that in. I think it's bad vibes.
It's a lot of things. He missed. He ended up missing 20 games because he missed the criteria by 3 or 4 games, so it was about 20, whatever you wound up playing. Because I remember there was a conversation right down to the last week of the season about if voters were like, if he makes it, am I going to vote him on? Look, to his credit, I think there would have been a lot of support for him to make at least All NBA third team if he had met the criteria, which speaks volumes about how good of a season he had, individually, because that team was I don't know, either them or Philly was the biggest disappointment in the league.
Yeah.
I guess it's a hot take then. I would do it. If you told me that I could swap out Towns for KD, which according to, I guess it was Gambo in Phoenix, who does, he seems pretty plugged in there, says the Suns have absolutely no interest in, which, okay.
Maybe they don't. Was this in response to the Shams?
I think so.
Okay,
I
so
think I saw this in the last
comment.
24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
See if you can find it. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was. I think I got it on one of the aggregation accounts. So if I could do that, and then this is going to be the one that's really going to probably send people up a wall, and then if I could turn Mikal Bridges into another 5 and then another rotation wing, essentially, or yeah, another rotation wing. So I'm not stuck starting Josh Hart again, because that's among, and I don't know, I love Josh Hart more than anyone. I don't want to see Josh Hart as a full-time starter anymore.
Bench, yeah,
have him come off the bench. So then, if you're telling me I could have a team where Brunson's my number 1, KD's my number 2, OG is very comfortably my number 3. No more worrying about is OG's going to get his shots? Is OG going to be motivated to play defense? I mean, I shouldn't say that. He was awesome defensively, but like to be peak OG at all times, because that's what they need. They need peak OG at all times.
Yeah.
He's your number 3. Hopefully, you get a replica of what we saw from Anunoby in March when he looked like an All NBA guy, and then you get a competent wing, a decent wing as your number 2. Or who knows? Maybe it's Deuce McBride, whatever. And then you get you either start Mitch, or you get, but you need another 5 on the roster because again, Mitch, I just don't know that you could trust the health. Now that's a ton of moving pieces. I don't know if any of that's realistic, but if you could tell me that that's my team, I think I do all that. I think I do all that.
So you would put Bridges on the block rather than give him the extension at this point.
I mean, look, I'm not trading Bridges just to trade Bridges. Again, it's to try to. Here's the thing: you can't the picks. They are as gone could be. They're nothing. Doesn't matter. You could have paid 12 first-round picks for them. It's done. So. At this point, do you either look at the situation and be like, well, we gave up 5 first-round picks for this guy. We can't trade him for, 2 role players. That would be insanity. Or do you look at it and say, what is in the best interest of our team? And I don't know about you, one of my biggest issues with the offense, and I think the biggest reason why you watch these starters together throughout the back half of the season and in the playoffs and look like 5 guys who were dragged out of bed to have to play with each other, is I think there was a 1-ball problem, and the fact that not non-vasectomy related, one ball problem. No, but like in only one basketball. There you go, basketball problem. Where it's
that's fair.
And
that's fair.
Because if I'm going on, and I promise I'm going to stop. If you look at lineup data, and you take one of the players out, and you just have the rest of the starters out there, so many of those lineups are world beaters.
Yeah.
The numbers are insane.
Yeah.
It's only when you put them all together. Now, is it because Thibs was a terrible coach? Is it because those guys just I think it was just there's a lot of guys who want what they want, and I don't think that there's enough for them all here. So that's kind of where I'm coming from here.
That's fair. If you can get more efficiency out of it with some additional rotational pieces, that might be worth in terms of subtraction, addition by subtraction rather. So,
but you need another shot creator.
You definitely do.
Brunson cannot be the only shot creator on the team.
Definitely
that can't
do, which presents the challenge. So. Yeah, all interesting stuff here, man. Let's get to the phones. Bill on the Discord, going to the members lounge. Bill, how you feeling, man?
Good. It's my first time using this Discord. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, good enough. Are you on a speakerphone or something? You kind of sound like you're in a phone booth, man. Where you at?
I am on a speakerphone.
Yeah, if you could, if you're able to come off the speakerphone, we'd be able to hear you much better.
All right, let me try that out, guys.
Okay. Sounds like he's in a submarine.
All right, so I am in a submarine. That's exactly how I'm rolling today. All right, so listen, I'm going to try to speak up and let me know if you can hear me. I feel like we're underestimating the Pacers team we just lost to, and we're trying to make all these changes, the coaching change. I don't think we're going to be ready to beat this Pacers team with any of these things we're discussing.
Okay. All right. Appreciate the call, man. Macri, your thoughts on that, man?
My bigger issue with, if you're going to make an issue about it, is, well, I'll say 2 things. One, we'll be talking about game 1 until we're old and gray, because, how different of a conversation are we having if it was the Knicks played in the finals last night and not the Pacers, which I believe in my core would be the case if they won game one.
Yeah,
that's
they
number
could
one.
have. They could have, man. They could have been here.
They could have, and they should have been. But I guess more to my issue, and I'm again, this is going to be an unpopular take. I never got all the way to believing like, yeah, this team is going to win a championship this year. There was something about it, and maybe different somethings throughout the year. I don't know, man. We both been watching basketball a long time. You know a title when someone's got the special sauce. Did you ever be honest? Did you ever feel that they really had it?
No. During the run, it was spectacular. It was exciting, but it was more hope that they would come together and find the magic when they never had it. Because every game was a struggle, except for a few. You know, Game 6 against the Celtics, like there were a few where it's just like, oh man, here they are. But 90% of those games, even in the wins, it was a struggle to get it. Yes, it's the playoffs, but it never came easy for them, and for most games.
It was more like there were moments, like Cat's fourth quarter defense in game 1 against Detroit.
Yeah.
Watching that, you're like, whoa, can you imagine if he did this all the time? Then that team could win a championship.
Right.
Okay, he does that like 8% of the time. And then the other 92% of the time is other things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely right, man. So, you know, to Bill's point, I don't feel like they're that far and away from the Pacers. No. Maybe the coach is the difference, or maybe extra added depth. They need, like you said, they need another ball handler. I think they need a wing. We'll see what Dadier does in his second year. Is it a Trey Jones, a Tyus Jones? They need another ball handler, another shot creator. And so let's see what happens. We're a long ways away from the offseason in terms of tinkering with the roster. Do they catch lightning in a bottle with this second-round pick? Do they move up in the draft? You know, a lot of things can change between now and then. I don't think we're that far from the Pacers. But, hey, good win by them last night. Were you trauma watching like the rest of Knicks Nation last night, like checking all the boxes when the Pacers won? Oh, the Thibs, we shouldn't have fired Thibs. Maybe the Thunder's going to fire Dagnall. Oh, we should have drafted Halliburton. Oh, Obi's killing us. We should have kept Obi. Were you watching that way?
No, I mean, I was more watching because I did. I got to shout out our sponsor, Fanatic Sportsbook. I did a 3-leg parlay with the under points for Halliburton, Siakam, and SGA, which I should have went over on SGA, and I'd be very happy today if I did that. So I was more watching, concerned about that.
Yeah. As
for the game, I was rooting against the Pacers vociferously, and then once it happened, I'm like, you know what? At least it's not just us, you know?
Yeah.
The Thunder are an awesome team, and it happened to them, too. So,
happened to them.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's how I was watching. I was hate watching, and then, you know, once they came back. I am a Nebhard fan. I'm a closet Nebhard fan. I don't really like to admit that a lot, but I do respect
I'd be fans of their whole team if I didn't hate their team so much.
That's right. So, you know, when they got to Sean, like, damn, that was impressive. Like, I can't lie. That was ill. So... All right, let's get back to the phones, man. Triple M in the building. Triple M, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yo, J Mac CP, you hear me fine?
Loud and clear. How you doing, man?
Yep.
What's up, man? KFTV. Thank you, J Mac, for chilling with the KFTV family today. I have two quick points I want to make. First about Giannis. So the Pelicans, they own the Bucks picks in 27 outright and a pick swap next year. So do you guys believe there's any interest from any players on our squad that the Pelicans might like, you know, where we could do a 3-way? I know you guys just said a 3-way gets complicated, but, I mean, that's something to get brewing. And my second point, real quick, dropping a little exclusive here on the show. You know this is what we do.
Okay.
I live in the Upper West Side, CP. You know that. Yeah. Very trendy area. I'm always rocking my Knicks gear. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, I saw Mo Cheeks today walking his dog.
Fifth row Mo.
Cheeks.
How's he doing?
Fifth row Mo. I said, man, what's going on? What's next? And he just kind of laughed and was like, I'm expecting to get interviewed. And he kind of laughed at me. And I'm like, I don't know if he's throwing my scent off or what is he doing? Because what are you doing, Fifth row Mo? I think the whole squad is out of here. But that leads to my question about Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
About Jason Kidd, like this guy, I know he had like a power trip in Brooklyn. Like he's always been controlling. So you got Kidd-Brunson here. You got other coaches here that might want to stay. How does this work with J. Kidd? Like, he's so combustible. Do you think Leon Rose would actually go there?
Macri, what do you think, man? I think they will.
Would go to Kidd?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
go there, but he's saying, you know, with so many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not
I
too worried
don't.
about that.
But whoever they hire as the coach, like, there's going to be the same number
thing.
of chefs. Like,
Yeah.
to me, the thing that I'm encouraged about is there was so much nonsense surrounding Jason Kidd through certainly his first stint in Brooklyn and to some extent in Milwaukee, but not really. It was more just like kind of some baffling decisions about how he ran that defense. I think his tenure in Dallas has been like pretty calm,
Yeah, seems so.
or at least
Seems so.
as relates to him. Obviously, their franchise got upended this season, but he, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe he kind of learned the ropes a little bit as he went along. As far as the Pelicans go, I'm looking at their cap sheet right now. So they have two pieces that ideally they would want to move on from in CJ McCollum, who's an expiring $30 million contract, and then DeJounte Murray, who's due 30 and then 32, and there's a $30 million player option. I'm not sure how movable the Murray contract is. I don't with obviously he had the injury this year, so I don't even when is he supposed to even come back next year? I'm not even
Yeah,
sure.
I'm not sure.
But like that's a lot of money left to pay for a guy who really did not do himself a ton of favors in terms of his play over the last like couple of years. The McCollum piece is interesting because again, if you're Milwaukee, to get $30 million in expiring money that'll come off your books, like McCollum is like one of the viewed as like one of the best leaders in the NBA, like good locker room guy. Like I wonder if there would be something there where the Knicks sent again. I mean, I'm to be very clear, I'm spitballing here. Like I don't even know that I haven't thought about the cap ramifications of this, but like send Bridges to the Pelicans to add to their collection of wings. I mean, how many two-way wings could you have? But like they seem to be collecting them, so send them one more. And then maybe McCollum goes to Milwaukee with one of the Bucks picks, or like their immediate pick that they have this year. I don't. That's a thought.
Could be. As you said, if it's a three-teamer, could get very complex. Triple M saying keep your eye out on the Pelicans. All right, so let's see. LD on the Discord. How you feeling, man? Jason Kidd, do you want him or not? Jason Kidd.
I want a home run coach.
Okay.
We fired a coach that got us to the ECF, and you know I'm the biggest Thibs critic. He got us to the ECF.
Now you miss him. Now you miss him.
No, I don't miss him, but I'm not sure why we're not mentioning home run candidates. If we're talking about fired a coach who took us to the ECF.
Who?
I mean, if we fired a coach who got us to the ECF this year and got an injured team to basically the ECF last year, I don't want to hear anything that doesn't sound like Kerr, Spoelstra, Ty Lue, Ime. Like, God bless Jason Kidd, but we need home runs. Like, I don't know why that's not what we're hearing. We need home run coaches.
They're home runs to their teams. I don't. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
I mean, who else other than Jason Kidd is in the pot? Like, again, he could be a cool coach, but I'm looking for like those names that are guaranteed. You sign this guy, in the next 5 years, you're definitely winning the championship. Like a name that is a championship. Who's in the pot? Like, who can we mention that's not Jason Kidd? Because we need that.
I think
if
this
we
is
fired
the best he's
Thibs,
going to get in terms of availability. I highly doubt Houston. Why would Houston let Udoka talk to the Knicks?
So then maybe. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like also like Eric Spoelstra is widely regarded as the best coach coaching in the NBA today, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got to coach LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh for 4 years. He got to coach Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. He's had some supremely talented teams. He's been a coach in the league for 15 years. He's won 2 titles. There is no such thing as a coach that's going to guarantee you anything. That doesn't exist.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you.
Yeah,
I got a question for you though. Those 2 teams that he took to the finals with Jimmy Butler, was that because of the roster or because of his coaching?
Well, a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. I agree with you. I said he's the best coach in the league.
Right.
But I don't. If you're Eric Spoelstra, why? I mean, why are you leaving Miami?
I agree with you. I'm not saying him specifically. Yeah. I'm saying the names that I want to hear after firing a coach that I believe is
But I mean, if it's not Spoelstra, there's not too many. If it's not Spoelstra,
You just named them. It's Spo, it's Ty Lue. I would
Right.
put right up there with Spo, and then, I mean, at this point, probably Carlisle. You have to mention him in this conversation, given what he's done with that Pacer team, and then after that, like Ime was my number one before the Eco report seemingly shot that down, because I think with Ime, the thing I loved about the idea of Ime is that you're getting all of the Thibs grittiness, hard nose, all that stuff, but he seems like he relates to players really well. So it's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
He also is not exactly a offensive revolutionary either. If we're talking about that as a priority.
That's another thing, right? And so I have the main thing I'm trying to find out is, we fired Thibs so quickly, and it almost looked like they kind of had an idea who they were going to hire. I was not expecting us to still be interviewing candidates at this point. I assumed because of how quickly we did it, there was a name that was going to pop up that would say, okay, we agree, this is the guy, right? But what it sounds like is the coaches that we know can basically guarantee us elite status and possibly winning a championship are all occupied, and we're just going to go back to hope again. Is that like is that what we're doing?
No, I think well, both me and Macri kind of touched on it, and I think he has a great point. They're looking for a coach that's a lot more player relations, collaborative in nature. Clearly, there was a clash between the front office and Thibs. This isn't the first time we heard about that, right? Like a couple of years ago, was it year 3? Was it year 3 of the Thibs regime where it was like year 2, Worldwide West and Thibs, like we heard that before. So And my perspective is, I know that they say they are casting a wide net, but clearly Kidd is top of the list. But there's no guarantees that A, Dallas will let you talk to him, and B, that the two sides will come to a deal, or that Kidd even wants to leave. That's how I'm reading it. That's just my opinion.
Leon is my guy. Leon, you're my guy. You know, Leon, you're my guy. But you have to hit a home run with this coaching hire, bro.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You got to. I'll holler at you.
LD on the chat. Rate that call in the chat.
Good. That was good stuff. I think the thing that people, again, take this or leave it. What I would recommend people try to wrap their heads around with this thing is to use an X's and O's example. It's not that Thibs was fired because he didn't try Deuce McBride with the starters or make that starting lineup change. To use one example, I'm just using it as an example. I'm not saying that. It's because there wasn't the open line of communication where a front office person or someone else in the organization could sit down and have a genuine, open, honest dialogue with Thibs, where they felt there was a reception on both ends about, hey, let's talk about maybe, okay, I understand why you don't want to do this. Maybe let's talk about why and like what could we get out of it and see where that got you. It's like a nuanced thing, but I think it's an important thing to understand because for me at least, I don't think this was about X's and O's, quite frankly. I think this was about relationships and communication and just having to work with someone every day.
I agree with you, man. Rate that call in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of tomatoes for LD. Sounds like LD misses Thibs, and that's very refreshing after the year-long battle that we had with him. So shout out to LD. Call back anytime. He's a great caller, Macri. He's a great caller, man. Okay.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
Zay from Maryland. Zay, go ahead, don't mute your mic.
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. How you doing, man?
Yep.
Doing all right. How you two doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah, so I've been calling this past week, right? I've been calling and kind of giving my feedback on it. And, I did have some time to sit and think. First you go in, you're just kind of spitballing based off of the initial reaction. And now that I've actually gotten the time to, like, digest a lot of the media information and a lot of what's going on, I kind of to what Jonathan was saying about, like, pretty much you have to have that open line of communication. I think adding Cat and Mikal into the mix may have been the beginning of the end for Thibs. Reason why I say that is just because all of the other guys, the Brunsons, the Harts, they're more they more kind of flow similar to like a college coaching and player relationship, right? Coach says this, we're gonna do this. Once you start adding guys that aren't under that same cloth, kind of guys that's kind of gotten to experience that relationship of being able to be a star player, or not necessarily be a star player, but have a star player near you to where, hey, it's not just what coach says goes. You got to hear and listen to the star player as well. Or, we got to have a better flowing offense, I think the feedback from the players most likely was, hey, you know, what Thibs says goes. And I think the front office also saw that, hey, we're bringing in additional pieces and players for you, and you're not necessarily giving them a try. You're not necessarily trying to see what you could potentially unlock because you're stuck on, I want to say, your two-man game, right? Or your main guys being the main facilitators, right? And so I think that is spot on as to why he's gone. Now, to last caller's point, why would you get rid of your coach if you don't have a next man up? 3 days is a long time. It's too short to say they should have somebody already. But what I would say is hopefully within the next week or so, we'll see some stuff shake out of who they actually intend to be the coach. And I think this was the perfect opportunity for them to have a bidding war on coaches, or not necessarily a bidding war, but to be able to pick from a litter of coaches that they feel comfortable with, that's going to get them to the next level. But don't trade for KD. Don't trade for don't trade for KD. Please do not trade for KD.
Okay.
Do not trade for Giannis. Like, let's not give up the remaining pieces we have because we don't even know what we got yet. All right, that's all I got.
Zay from Maryland. Appreciate the call. All right, last call of the day. Q&A 81 on the Discord. Go ahead and unmute your mic. Q&A.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Good, man. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I totally agree with the last caller, and I think the firing of Thibs was an indication of Leon saying, I went and got you all these pieces, and you're not using them. Thibs' issue was he was not getting the most out of this roster. And if you watched the game last night, everyone knows OKC is the best team in the league. They just did the exact same thing that they did to the Knicks. So I don't think this roster is that far off. After watching this game last night, I think they sorry about that. I think they do need a coach that's going to get the most out of this roster. This roster is built for offense, and they did build a decent bench, and you need to have a coach that's going to, get more movement in the offense. That's not going to rely on hero ball from Brunson 24/7. You have scores, you have defense. I think this roster has a lot of what it needs to win. They just need the coach that's going to unlock it. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Call back anytime. Good call, man. Okay, so Q&A 81 says it's his coach. Let's see if the coach can make a difference here and take this team over the top. But as we said, man, it's finals or bust for this guy, so good luck. Bring your pacemaker with you wherever you're coming in from, Dallas, Houston, wherever. Bring your pacemaker and stay off of Twitter. That's two words of advice. Stay off of social media and bring your heart medication with you, man, because... yeah, get ready for it, man. Shout out to Sebastian Hurley. Macri says, 2 favorite Knicks channels collabing. I run an anime pod and take inspiration from you guys.
That's awesome.
He says, I need my glasses. That's what I say. He says, if we keep Cat, how would you guys feel about targeting Jabari Smith Jr. in a 3-team deal where KD goes to Houston in a trade? He can defend the 4, the 5, and can shoot threes.
The Smith... I'm fascinated by Jabari Smith because correct me if I'm wrong, he's entering he is entering year 4. So he's extension eligible this summer.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating situation in Houston because they inked their top two scorers at least to big money deals last summer. And the Thompson kid is gonna get
He's next.
Max extension next summer.
Yeah.
And they also want to potentially make moves here. So I'm really interested to see what happens with Smith. I don't what is he as an? I still don't think we know what he is.
Yeah,
for instance, what's his best position even?
Right.
Is he just a straight 4? And are there complications that come with that? I guess I'm just not sure what the trade looks like. So if KD's going to Houston and he's coming here, are we sending something to Phoenix?
Yeah.
Wouldn't Phoenix just want the young player?
Right.
That's what I would want.
Yeah. And look, I thought he's starting to grow a little bit, especially last year under Udoka. Like you said, what's his true position is certainly a question. But hey, I think the Knicks can use as many, whether he's a tweener, wing, a 3 or 4, whatever it is. I think the Knicks can use players of that caliber who can defend multiple positions, and obviously knock down the 3. But it's just a matter of, again, how you get them. It's just not as easy as it used to be in terms of constructing this roster. So a lot of work to do between Brock, Leon, Wes. See if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, man. And Leon we trust is what the fans say. So let's see how it goes down. But great show, bro. Absolutely great job on this Friday. Salute to Greg Gardner, $5 Super Chat says, hypothetically, if Indiana wins a chip, does that change the perception of the Thibs firing?
Like, would there be more regret? No. I think things. Look, and as people know, I'm sure I was the biggest Thibs fan in the world.
Yeah.
If a situation is just not working out, it's not working out. You can sit here and you can hem and haw every which way from Sunday about why it's not working out. If it's not working, it's not working.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter in the NBA is, it's just a lot easier to change out the coach than to overhaul everything else.
Simple.
You know. So I think it was probably given the realities of the roster presently. I would say it was time.
It was time. Hey, they call me KnicksFanTV over here, man. I was saying it was time.
No, I know
So,
you were. You're always been you've always been more than fair when it comes to Thibs.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Shout out to Will N. He's throwing a lot of names in the coaching hat. He says Rajon Rondo, Reggie Miller, and CP the Fanchise for head coach. Just shout out to Will N for those super chats, man. What do you got on the horizon, man? What kind of content can we look forward to on KnicksFanTV coming up?
What are we doing at Knicks Film School? We're like Jeremy's in his bag right now with all the cap stuff. We just released Cap or No Cap today. We're going to be releasing another Cap or No Cap on Monday. So for anybody who's unfamiliar, Jeremy Cohen, our cap expert, he goes through all the different salary cap related things. We'll be looking at mid-level exception candidates. We'll be looking at how to bring in different superstar names in the coming weeks. And then we're going to be at Fanatics Fest with courtesy of Fanatics. So looking forward to that in, I guess, is that in 2 weeks?
Okay.
June 20th to the 22nd. So excited about that. And then, gearing up for free agency and everything. So,
yes, sir.
People know the drill.
Absolutely, man. Well, great show, man. We'll definitely catch up. And definitely appreciate the time, man. Jonathan Macri, ladies and gentlemen, salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Enjoy your weekends. Hey, keep it locked on KFTV. Salute to our sponsor, man, at Cash App. Hey, new Cash App subscribers. Use our code KnicksFanTV in your profile when you sign up for Cash App. Send $5 to a friend to get $10 back. It is an exclusive deal for KnicksFanTV viewers and subscribers for a limited time only. And look, what I love about Cash App, it's easy to use. It's safe to use in terms of sending and receiving money to and from people. Like we send to vendors that we need to pay. We send to some of our people on our staff. We send via Cash App. And we also receive donations from many of you at home. Look, we love the super chats here from YouTube, but the reality is YouTube does collect a commission on some of those super chats. So we don't get all of the super chats in terms of the money that you send. So Cash App is one way to do that, where you can send it in whole. And with this promotion for new users, you send $5, you can get $10 back. But you can send that $5 to any friend and you will get those $10 back. And once you sign up for Cash App, you go into your profile and you use our code KnicksFanTV. All right, so listen, man, whenever we get more intel on the coach, you know where to come to, man. KnicksFanTV, number one show for the fans, by the fans. Salute to our mods, salute to all of our Fanchise channel members, and everybody have a great weekend, man. We